Hey everyone, Luke here, and I'm back from my little break. My show went really well, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And next week we're moving right into auditions for the next show. Yeah, never slowing down here. And I'm getting this done out of the way because after this I've got to go straight off to work. And fortunately, these two last episodes, episode 11 and 12, they didn't make me as angry as I thought they were going to make me. I mean, there was still stuff that was cut out, but in terms of like how they were adapted, I thought they did really well. There's one bit in particular that I'm most excited about talking about because it's the problem that I had in the original manga. But anyway, guys, let's get right into it. Alright, so this is episodes 11 and 12. Now, if you just bear with me, guys, I've got my notes right here. Here we go. Yeah, here we go, episode 11. So as you can tell, guys, I'm trying to get this out as quickly as I possibly can because, like I said, I don't have time now, but I've got a little bit of time, so hopefully I can get this out in the next 40 minutes. I know that's kind of short for me, but anyway, guys, that's besides the point. So let's get on. The first cut I want to talk about is with episode 11, and this episode goes from when Ray said you haven't given up on Emma right through to when the house is burning down and Phil goes up to Mama. So yeah, guys, I'm just gonna put that down there for a second as I find the page. So yeah, in the episode, Emma says for Norman's sake to Ray instead of actually thinking about it. And again, like I said, like I've been saying throughout the past few episodes, and somebody actually did bring this up. They said that because Promised Neverland is a psychological thriller series, the fact that they're cutting out all the inner dialogue kind of like takes away a lot from how we get to see the insights of the character's mind and how we get to see what they're actually thinking and what they're actually all about. And a good example of this is the one that I brought up, is when Norman goes to that faucet to get the glass of water and he's thinking like, I want to live. I messed up here. I made Emma upset. How can I do something like this? And instead they decide to just make it one long take. And somebody actually left a comment on that saying like, well, we don't necessarily need to hear what they're actually thinking because the animation and the music kind of gives that along. It's like, yeah, I can see like where they're actually coming from, but it's nice to actually hear them actually tell us themselves like what they're actually thinking and like what their really real thoughts are actually going through, and how this whole situation is messing them up psychologically and mentally. And this is a perfect example of them when Emma says it's for Norman's sake to Ray instead of actually thinking about it like, oh, this is for Norman's sake, to make sure that Norman's plan actually succeeds. So yeah, guys, this was the moment I was actually talking about here. It's right here, for Norman's sake, at the beginning of the chapter. And what should I do what should I be doing right now? And it's Emma just like in that just mental state of just like she's on the verge of just like giving up and actually probably taking on Mama's position of okay, I will become a Mama, and I will take up your offer, Mama. And again, I've always said this, Emma could very much be like Isabella. And like the flashback, which we'll get into that when we get into episode 12, the flashback with Isabella pretty much cements that in that Isabella was very much like Emma in her youth, very bubbly, very cheery, and very outgoing, and very friendly to everyone in the orphanage. The only difference is that Isabella didn't really have anyone after Leslie had left. She didn't really have anyone that she could actually turn to and be the confidant that they needed to be, like Norman and Ray have actually been. And since Norman was the only one that was shipped out, the fact that she could actually go to Ray, and also Don and Gilda in this situation, and all the other kids, as we find out, like after Norman has left, like she has told at this point so many of the other kids, and the fact that she had so many of them that she could actually go to, whereas Isabella had none of it. It just shows what could have happened if Emma didn't have these strong bonds, or didn't have the confidence to actually go and tell everybody like what is actually going on, and she could have very much ended up continuing the circle of like becoming a mama herself. And that would actually be a great what if Emma had actually taken up Isabella's offer of actually becoming a mama. That would actually be a great what if video if somebody was willing to actually go out and do that and like look at the series in a different light, and like how it would have been if Emma had never found out about the orphanage, like what she never found out about it. And of course we have to once again leave out inner thoughts, and the perfect example is right here at the beginning of the chapter, like these parts right here, and also these parts right here. And I'm going to talk about what is actually said here. From now, and this is Emma thinking these things, from now on, Mama will rule directly. She'll control us without using Ray. Mama will monitor us for sure, directly monitor us. Her main targets are me and Ray. What should I be doing right now? Nothing. Hide my claws, hide my fangs. I know what Mama is looking for. I won't let her figure out or get in the way of our plans or objectives. Mama will be watching every subtle behaviour and reaction. I can't let her suspect us. I can't do anything. I shouldn't be doing anything. It hurts. It's painful. I just want to curl up. But it's going, and then she flashes back to Norma saying, "It's going to be okay. Don't ever give up." And that's when her saying, I will never ever give up. I won't waste Norman's death. I'll fool her until the end. I'll outwit Mama and successfully escape from her." And then it also cuts to Ray asking Emma if she's actually given up. And yeah, she hasn't actually given up. And Emma and Ray says, "Yeah, so we're so in the end we're on the same page." And we get this nice little moment from them two, showing that they're actually in sync with each other at this moment in time, and again showing how close they've actually become from the start of the series right up until this point in the series, compared to where they were like at the beginning like at chapter 1. And we don't get any of that, and it's really sad. Again, like that guy said, it's really sad to miss out on all this internal dialogue from the characters, and showing like, no, even though Mama has pushed us into a corner, we're still going to push ahead, and we're still going to go ahead with our plan, and we're going to succeed. We're not going to let Norman's sacrifice be in vain, and we're going to try our best to get this plan going, even if it means our deaths in the end. And this is great foreshadowing. This like, our wet mom and successfully escape from here. That's like great foreshadowing for what's to come, because we don't know at this point that Emma has recruited all the other ones that are like ages 4 and up, or 5 and up. Yeah, no, 4 and up. 5 and up, to actually be in the course and actually commit to this plan of escape. And we're just assuming like, oh, it's just Ray, Emma, Don and Gilda still at this point that are the ones that actually know of everything. And for her to actually say, "Oh, when Mom successfully escaped from here," to actually think that, it's like, okay, so how are you still gonna do that? How is that still gonna be a possibility when you've just been back up into a corner? But we don't know that Emma has another trick up her sleeve that Norman has left for her, and entrusted her to actually let this plan be successful. Now again, the episode was doing a lot of that all cutting and changing around, so whenever I put points down that were earlier in the manga but then came later in the anime episode, I had to like cut that out. But again, like just changing those little bits around, it just like really irritates me and frustrates me, because I have to keep going back, okay, they did actually say this part, but again, it's nice if they can actually get that at the points in the actual episode, rather than actually just swapping and changing around whenever they see fit. I mean, maybe that's just to like make the scene flow a little better than what was actually in the manga. Maybe that's the way they're actually going with it, but that's besides the point. And another thing that I need to talk about is that in the episode, it's Ray who's the one who talks about Mama and the babies, and the reason and the thing is here is like the problem with Mama's eyes is that she's watching us and she'll always be holding on to one of the younger ones, right? And she'll be doing that during the day and night. The babies are in Mom's room, and that's coming from Emma. And again, characters taking away moments from other characters in the series, just to make them seem much more important. Like, that just kind of makes it a bit of disservice to the actual characters that actually say that, especially when it's the main character who actually brought that up, showing that how she is just as observant as Ray is at this point, how, like, Ray's influence of being observant and just seeing the background and just letting things play out as they were, and actually coming to these conclusions herself. For Ray to actually take that away from her in the episode kind of, like, takes away a bit from Emma's own character, and actually takes away a bit from why she's actually one of the more successful ones, because Ray and Norman have influenced her so much that she's able to, like, stand with them at this point and be equals, more so than she was at the beginning of the series. Now, before I get into the big moment in the episode, I want to talk about one particular moment. It's the moment when Ray throws her the book. This is after Ray has poured oil over his head, and he's preparing to commit suicide, which this is the moment I was talking about that was actually improved on in the anime. So again, like I said, not everything in the anime is shit. I mean, the anime's not shit beginning to end. There are really good moments, and they capture the spirit of the original source material. It's just all the little things and all the big major changes that they do that just makes it that much more frustrating and keeps it from being this absolutely amazing adaptation instead of just being an okay adaptation. But if you're an anime only person who just wants to watch the anime, you get your money, you get your time's worth, and it is a good adaptation. It's just not an amazing adaptation like I and a lot of people were hyping it up to be. But again, the moment I want to talk about here is the pictures of the families and everyone in the anime. It's just a picture of Norman and Emma, and again, while I understand why they just showed the picture of Norman and Emma, again, in the manga, Ray giving her pictures of all her family members shows that he understands just how much not just the family meant to him, but how much it meant more to Emma, and how important it was for her to actually remember those happy times with everyone, and not just remember Norman. Because again, this is a character that's going to be escaping, and at this point, I might as well just say, like, she's not going to be taking everyone with her, and the fact that she has those pictures with her to remind her of just all the siblings that she has that she's helped take care of, helped raise as a big sister, again shows the emotional depths of the characters, how much family means to them, and how much they want them to get out of this situation, and what drives their motivation. And to show Norman, again, I understand why they did it, but again, it takes a bit away from Emma's motivation if it's just Norman instead of the entire orphanage as well. But anyway, going on to the big point of the chapter, which was Ray going to commit suicide. Now, the music was really good in that moment. It was really tense, it was dramatic, and it just made your heart pounding, racing. And to see other reactions to people to that moment, that was quite a treat. And Ray's determination was shown really well. Like, they really captured his psychotic nature in that scene. And some of the panels, like, where's the panel? This particular panel right here, that one right there, they really, the shading and the lighting in the scene really captured, like, his just demented psychotic nature of not wanting to die and wanting to give it a big middle finger to the demons, and show like, no, I am a person. If all I'm gonna live for is to be food, then I'm just gonna ruin their Tifari, or however you pronounce the meal that's prepared for the demons and the demon king, and it just shows, like, just Ray's madness of the situation, how he's at his wit's end. He wants to die, and he's going to go through with this no matter what. Now, one thing I really did like about it is the fact that It's the fact that they actually didn't show the explosion. They just didn't show the explosion at all. In the episode, it goes from thank you, goodbye, Emma, and they just cut out that bit, like just the explosion itself. It just cuts right to moment. It like cuts to this point in the chapter, which I'm really glad that they actually did that, because that was one of the biggest. Like, no, you can't do that. You can't just end on a cliffhanger with Ray actually dying and then immediately show him being alive in the next chapter. The fact that they did that, the fact that they just didn't show anything and it was just left on Emma just going after the match and then it just cuts away. That just added more to the tension of like, oh my god, did Ray actually die? Did he not? But the fact that in the manga they actually showed that made everyone think that Ray had actually done it. Ray had actually committed suicide, and they actually had the balls to do that in Weekly Shonen Jump. And then the next chapter, no, he's actually fine. That was one of the biggest problems I had with the original Gracefield arc, and I'm really glad that they actually rectified this in the anime. So I've got to give credit where credit is due. They did a much better job with that scene than the manga did. So yeah, that's one point I will give the anime over the manga. The fact that Ray's suicide was handled a lot more better. But of course, this is all ruined by the fact that Mama doesn't get any of her inner thoughts, and it's just Mama just humming the song again, like the song that she's been humming throughout the series, and the song that Ray's been humming as well. And again, just hammering in that Ray is Isabella's son, rather than having it being subtle in the manga. So again, they went from doing something that was actually an improvement, going back to something that didn't need to actually exist. And another thing as well is clearing out Mama's thoughts, which read, finally tomorrow is Ray's shipment. It's been 12 years already, or is it 12 years at last? And you get like Mama just like having a somber look on her face about the situation, because she knows that Ray is her son, and the fact that we don't actually know if she's feeling guilty or not about actually having to ship out her own son just to be food for these demons. But carrying on, she goes on to think about how long has it been since I've shipped out one at maturity, and it's the meal for the Demon King to be offered at the Typhery. I cannot make any mistakes. Ray and Emma haven't really done anything for the past 2 months, and Don and Gilda haven't done much from what I've seen. There's nothing more than I can do. As long as I can make it to tomorrow. No, that's why I can't let my guard down until then. I should stay awake all night, and I'll patrol the house just in case. And again, like they just that was the part that was added in the anime of Emma just running up to Ray to catch the match. But again, like I said, taking out the inner thoughts takes away a lot from what the characters are actually planning and plotting in this crazy cat and mouse game of chess that they're actually having to go on. And cutting that all out cuts out a lot of what we can actually get into the characters' minds and think like, oh my god, is she really this evil? Is she really going to go through with all of this or not? Now, in the actual episode, when Emma goes, Mama, help, Ray's in there, somebody actually said that they don't think that Emma was actually as desperate in the episode than she was in the manga. And yeah, now I can see where they were actually coming from, having gone back and actually listened to it. Emma did seem a bit tired, like, oh, Mama would have been able to figure out, oh, she's obviously faking this, rather than it actually being genuine, like it was in the manga. And again, we by cutting out all the inner dialogue of, what is this, a trap? Did they start a fire to escape? No, that's not it. The smell. There's no way she's aggravated. There's no way she's agitated. The tracking device. There's a signal. Again, just cutting out all that inner dialogue again shows just like how much of a master chess thinker that Mama is in. Even under tight situations, she's able to get across all that plotting and planning. Those were the words that I was looking for. That plotting and planning that she actually could get across and be like, okay, I'm under this situation, but I have to think about this. Are they actually faking this? Is this an actual trap? No, that's not the case. What is actually going on here? And again, cutting out all that inner dialogue cuts out all the mind games that are actually going on throughout the series, and it just makes it feel like just like this awkward moment of just like, no. just using the music and using. I guess they want us to. I guess they just want the audience to feel like we can actually think what the characters are actually thinking, or we can actually predict what they're actually thinking. I guess that's a way you could look at it. But again, it would be nice if we could actually see for ourselves and get a clear indication of what their full characters are rather than what it is on the surface. And again, another important point of the of the inner thoughts from Mama coming out here is this part right here, this whole entire section of the chapter. This is retaliation. He must have set himself on fire so that I wouldn't be able to ship him out. How stupid of me. I didn't think he would resist at the end like this. What do I do? What about tomorrow's shipment? The Teferi. This is the only plant that can harvest a child right now. No mistakes. I will extinguish the fire. I can't give up on Ray. I need to extinguish fire. Make sure the other children are okay. Again, showing how she underestimated her children that she actually raised herself, and she didn't think of the fact that they would actually go through with a suicide. Of course, we find out later on that Ray didn't go through with it, and it's actually something even more clever than what she could have actually possibly predicted. Now, one thing quickly before I actually continue on, Mama's when Mama actually picks up Emma's ear that she's actually cut off, there's a really squishy, gooey sound effect that I thought oh, that was really cringy, and that was really well done as well. And I love that sound effect that was actually added in, and it just added a little bit of extra, oh, this is actually really awesomely disturbing all at the same time. Now, hallelujah, we got another flashback. We get the flashback where Ray, when Emma actually stops the actual dropping of the match. Again, some of the stuff that's actually in the chapter is actually cut out of the episode. But something else that I thought wasn't gonna happen was Emma was actually a flashback showing us what Emma's message was and what Norman's plan, not Emma's plan, what Norman's plan was to Emma, and all that. I was like, oh my god, this is anime filler stuff, but it's anime filler stuff that's actually relevant to the series, rather than Ray just being out a window. It's like, why couldn't they do that earlier? Okay, I apologise for that outburst there, guys. No, his plan was actually included in the manga. We actually got the flashback of him actually coming up with his plan and actually explain to Emma what it actually was. It's right here. So I apologise for that. But still, the fact that they're adding in flashbacks now and they're not including Mama's number being revealed until pretty much at the end at this point, or when Sister Crone actually revealed it, that just makes it, again, like I said, it makes this series that much more frustrating, and I can't really enjoy it as much as I want to enjoy it. And I hope when season 2 does come out, which I'll just announce this now, season 2 is coming out next year, I just hope that they get more time to actually have more of the inner thoughts that this series so desperately needs. Now, the last major point I want to talk about with episode 11 is this point right here, where Emma asks, did all the kids get their trackers? Did all the kids break their trackers? They're like, yeah, that's never mentioned in the episode. And it's like, that's one of the most important points. That's the reason why they can track you, you know. They could just get Mama to actually say, okay, so these kids haven't got their trackers out. Oh, you could just go and find them, Mama. Oh, Isabella, can we use your trackers so that we can actually find out where these kids actually are, because they don't have their trackers being broken. The fact that they didn't mention this in the episode itself is just a major plot hole in the actual anime series. And maybe they'll talk about this when we get to season 2, like, all the kids just took out the trackers, or we're expected to believe that all the kids actually broke their trackers. But again, it's like, why not add that bit in when it's an important plot point? Now, episode 12 will be quick. There's just a couple of things I want to talk about episode 12, because in terms of episode 12 I thought was another really good one, another really solid episode that was actually adapted really well, because again, they had less to actually cut out, to be honest. But the points that I just want to talk about are using flashbacks in conjunction with the actual real time. So again, the flashbacks that I'm talking about are these ones right here when they're discussing the plans that are actually going on, and I feel like that was a really clever way to actually conjunct them, juxtapose with them actually cutting up, with actually getting up to the actual wall itself, instead of actually just having it all in real time. They actually had it juxtaposed with flashbacks again as well, and again that was really well handled. I really enjoyed that. So again, like I said, some parts of the anime can actually be done when they actually want to be done correctly. It's just again those little bits that just makes it that much more irritating and frustrating to me. And like I said, episode 12 doesn't do this a great deal, but there are a couple of other parts that I actually want to talk about, which we'll get into in a bit. Now again, I'm not even going to go into all the points that I had at this point, because at this point there's really not much more I can say. It's like we don't get a lot of Ray's thoughts on the situation about how all the kids have actually gone to such great lengths to actually go along with this plan and everything, especially if I can actually find it. Yeah, this part right here, when Ray is actually crossing the actual ravine with Jemima, or Jemima, however you pronounce her name. We don't get the thoughts from him, which is like, a destiny that couldn't be changed no matter what, how much I cursed it. My lonely battle, not being able to reveal the truth to save the others. Or save the others. If you cannot do something, you have to give up. Wishing for more could cost you everything. I was scared, frantically trying to stay in the moment. I wanted to chase an ideal, but I couldn't. But now I'm allowed to chase it. I'm allowed to wish it. That no one will die for a future. That is like a dream. Thanks, I understand now. You got me, Norman. Again, just cutting all of that out cuts out a strong point of Ray's character and how much he's actually changed since the beginning of the series. Because again, like Isabella, which again, like mother, like son, he just gave up after a while. He saw the situation, saw that it was impossible, and knew that was nothing he could do. But thanks to the combined efforts of Emma and Norman, he was able to see like, no, this doesn't have to be your destiny. You don't have to die. You can live and you can survive with us a future outside of this orphanage, on the run, basically finding a way to get out of this awful situation. And it changes his perspective on life and gives him a new drive in life and allows him to actually be the brother figure to Emma that he can actually be. And cutting all of that out when they didn't actually need to, when they actually had the basis to actually use that, that just makes it all the more tragic that they're actually just cutting out all of the inner dialogue of the series. Now, one other thing I want to talk about is the moment right here where Isabella actually fails. She actually fails to catch up to them. She knows that right now that she's been surpassed by Emma and Ray, and she has to let them go and do their own thing and actually just try to succeed as best as she can. Now, in the episode, she actually catches up to Emma just so that she can have this moment with Emma where Emma's like, goodbye, Mama, and Isabella's like, don't go, my precious children that I've cared for. But again, in the episode, she was like determined, like, I'm not going to let you escape, Emma. Let's see you try to escape, Emma. And instead of actually just going and grabbing Emma, she just stands there panting for breath. And it's like, it's much more effective in the actual manga because it shows that Emma has finally been able to surpass Mama and get away from her crutches and actually put her in checkmate for once. But in the anime, no, Emma could not beat Mama. Emma could not beat Mama. But I don't know. I don't know why they did that. I really don't know why they did that. Oh my god. Can somebody tell me why they did that? Please, somebody tell me before I go insane. And another thing as well that I want to talk about is Mama letting her hair down in the anime whereas in the manga she never actually did that. Now I don't know whether this was to say that like Emma became the girl that she couldn't want to, that she couldn't be, and she was just like trying to let her hair down and to show signs of like it's over or something like that, like she can't be a mother anymore, she's failed at everything and she's failed to survive. I don't know why she let her hair down. Maybe it's symbolism, I can't really tell. But one of the other things I want to talk about is the fact that Leslie in the actual manga, you can see it right here, he's actually singing the actual tune, but in the anime he's actually playing on a banjo. Now I don't know whether it was like they couldn't get the actor to they couldn't actually think of a song to actually go with the tune that was actually being played, or the actor himself maybe just wasn't the best singer. But again, it's minor cuts, but nothing too major in the grand scheme of things. But also as well, one thing that we do get cut out is the actual motivation of Mama. It's all the inner monologue here. Again, not surprising that inner monologue is being cut out, but this is what she has to say. I was able to stay strong because of that song. I don't regret anything. It's the path I chose. The world won't change. What good would it do if I died? In that case, I should do what I can. Give them all the love they need. Extend the lives as long as possible for these children who don't know anything, and for Leslie. And also, I cut out this part here. I loved everything. I loved Leslie. I loved the house. I loved. And also another thing that actually they make it seem much more of it is like this part right here. Somebody actually bring this up, like Isabella is happy for Leslie that he's actually being adopted, but later on she finds out like, oh, it was just all a hoax and he's dead and he's never coming back. And the fact that she didn't find that out until much later actually gave a proper motivation for her as to why she would give up in that situation. The fact that Leslie's dead, he's not coming back, and all I have now is this song, and I've just got to basically make do with the best out of the worst situation here. But the fact that she knew right away that Leslie wasn't going to die, that Leslie was going to die. I don't know why that was such a necessary change. Maybe they just couldn't find a way for Isabella to find out later on and say, I don't know. I really don't know, guys. But again, another point I want to bring up here is also the fact that Ray is actually singing Mama's song. And again, a lot of people were shocked by this, but really, should they be? Because it was so hammered in, people could have seen that coming a mile away, and I'm surprised that some people didn't quite figure out. Also, another thing I want to say is, another part that I skimmed, that I didn't talk about, is when Ray and Norman are together, when Ray imagines Norman, and they're talking about because of Emma, and they talk about her in the same situation of the fact that she's reckless and all of this, but she's kind and nurturing, and her kind nature is the one that is what brings us forward. Again, they're talking about it like how in the episode they're talking about it's the same dialogue, but it doesn't have the same impact because we haven't had all the inner dialogue or all the like narration from Emma that makes it feel like, no, we can believe that Norman would actually be thinking about this, and Ray would actually be thinking about this as well. But in the anime, they treat it like, oh, no, this is the actual thing. No, she was thinking these things, you just didn't see it, or something like that. Now, the last 2 points I want to talk about before we actually wrap all of this up is the fact that Isabella doesn't share a song. Now, I kind of have a reason why they didn't actually do that. It's because it had so much music on top of all of that, on top of the dialogue, that it probably would have just got swallowed up by the actual song that was actually being played when they were actually escaping as well. But at least we get some of Isabella's thoughts on the fact that this is all she can do, and it's best that do your best and escape. At least we got that from Isabella. So again, they're learning. Ballet de Never, they're learning to add in inner thoughts in the series. It's just a little too late, and we don't get all of Emma's thoughts. We get, this is the outside. We were able to make it out. We are finally free. And then we get this. It's our first morning, and we get the. We don't get the actual sunlight. We get it. It's kind of weird because in the episode it's like Ray and Gilda like just on Emma's side, just obscuring the vision. Whereas this shot was just like one of the most beautiful, triumphant moments of the actual series at that point. But again, we don't get all of Emma's thoughts. These are the actual thoughts that Emma gives. Far, far away. This is it. The outside. We were able to make it. We did it. We did it, Norman. It's been 3 months since that day. I am here, alive on the outside. Out here, there are no shipments. I don't have to go through that again. Tomorrow will come for the 12-year-olds, including Ray. We won't have to watch others die. We won't be left for death. We're free. We are finally free. But this isn't the end. Our society, outside, the society of demons awaits. We humans are food. To live outside means that we have to continuously have to preserve our existence amongst enemies. There's no house, no food. There's not even a society to live in. From now on, all that needs to be obtained with our own hands. Wow, freedom is so beautiful, yet so cruel. Even so, no matter how harsh it is, I will survive. I'll live with everyone. I'll definitely go back to retrieve everyone else. Today, we take our first steps. Now, again, this is important because it's showing that despite everything, they may be out of the frying pan, but they're not out of the fire. So, again, I don't know whether this was like just cut out all of that to like give it a more triumphant feeling. But again, it just, by adding all of that, it just gives a sense of like, yes, we are out of the house, but we're still going to have pursuers coming after us, and we're still going to have to work hard to survive in this cruel world. But for now, we could just relax, which I feel is a more upbeat and positive message than just like, we're free, we're free, we're free, we're free. And it's a much more realistic way of looking at the situation as well. But again, maybe that was cut just for like give it to end it on a more triumphant note rather than a more ominous note. I don't know. But anyway, guys, so that was the Promised Neverland anime series. Final thoughts on it myself. In all honesty, looking back on it, it wasn't the worst adaptation process. I mean, yeah, there were things changed around. There was a lot cut out to get it into these 12 episodes, but in all fairness, for what they did, they actually got in a lot of the key scenes that need to be put in. The only key scene that I wish that they kept in was the scene with Isabella's number. That's the only scene I wish they kept in, and they improved on some things from the manga, like with Ray's attempted suicide. They improved on that dramatically. So again, like I've said throughout all of this, if you just want to watch it as an anime, it's a good anime. In fact, I would say it's a great anime, but comparing it to the manga, there is no contest. The manga is actually better. The manga is the superior version. So if you want the full weight of the actual story, then go for the manga of The Promised Neverland. But if you just want to watch a good anime or a fantastic anime, then the anime's for you. That's all I can say on the situation. But anyway, guys, that is all I've got to say about the situation. I must say it was a truckload to get through, but in all honesty, I'm glad I've done this series. I'm glad I've done every single episode from start to finish. I mean, I know episode 12 was not much to look at, but mainly that was because, like with episode 1, there wasn't a lot in episode 12 that just made me feel that much more that angry. It just didn't make me that much rage induced. It was just that little moment with Emma and Mama on the bridge that really just like was like, really? That's the first thing you're gonna. That's the thing you're gonna like just and also as well, I didn't talk about other things in episode 12 because again there was really no point of it. It was points that I addressed time and time again, and it would have been redundant of me to actually go through them time and time again. But anyway, like I said, it's a good anime. Not the best, but it is a good anime, and in terms of anime adaptations, I have seen worse. 4 Kids Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one thing to go off. 4 Kids One Piece is one thing to go off. Oh my god, imagine if Promise Neverland actually had been done by 4 Kids. Imagine that. That would have been like, oh my god, that would have been like, that would have just been awful. I could just imagine that right now. But yeah, guys, like I said, and the last point, like with Emma, just thinking about like we're free, but we're not out of the woods yet. We're still in demon society, and we've still got to think about that. But again, like I said, that was probably best left out to leave it on much more triumphant and positive notes. But that's it, guys. Yeah, that's it. And season 2 is out next year. And of course, I will be back next year to do this for season 2, because season 2 will be adapting parts of the manga that I didn't really get to talk about much because I was going through all of those problems with my personal life. So I'll really be glad to actually talk about more about these things as well, and talk about more about these points that were actually left out. And I'm really excited to be doing that. But anyway, guys, I've got to go to work. And also next week, next week I will be doing the 3 chapter reviews that I've missed out of, and then of course at some point I'm going to be doing a video on introducing We Never Learn, which will be the next series in the What's the Difference series between between manga and anime. Alright guys, this will be Lash Luke signing off. Laters! Oh, and also to say, my final thoughts on the last 2 episodes were that it was a satisfying conclusion. That's all I'll give it. They didn't cut out as much as I thought they were going to cut out, and they added in things that I didn't think would be added in. So all I can say is that I'm glad that they ended on a competent note and not a frustrating one. So anyway, guys, that was all I wanted to say, and this will be Lash Luke now for the final time for now. In What's the Difference? Well, for another week or so of What's the Difference. This will be Lash Luke signing off. Later, guys.